Our final speaker for this session is Laura Dunstan. Laura is project manager for community partnerships at the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, with background in environmental education and interpretation for sustainability, along with community engagement and natural resource management. So excited to welcome you to the stage, Laura.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. So I am presenting on the Community Action Plan program today on behalf of the team, Jen Loader, Angela Dean and Tracy Schultz, wherever you are. And so starting off with, what are community action plans? So CAPs provide a shared regional vision and decision framework for coastal, estuarine and marine citizen science and community on-ground action. They support collaborative planning to connect community aspirations with regional and reef-wide priorities, especially the Reef 2050 plan. They use an impact-driven approach to support planning that focuses on outcomes and connectivity, and they explore ways to support more sustainable community funding models. So we'll start with some of the results of the CAP development phase. So CAPs are grounded in the conservation standards and collective impact frameworks. And we worked with 8 CAP leaders from Cape York down to Burnett Merry to develop 6 CAPs using those frameworks. And this included the development of 52 strategy roadmaps and 79 community-led and traditional owner-led projects ready for implementation. Those projects were grouped into 6 cross-regional themes, including local action on climate change, wetland and coastal protection, and traditional owners caring for country. There were over 1,200 participants and 125 partners involved in this process, and 20 instances of community data being used in the planning process. And we have put together a summary report of the CAP development phase that you can find on the GBRF Community Partnerships webpage if you'd like more information about that. Because we are now focusing on the very exciting implementation phase. So we're translating planning into action. So here, the CAP leader organisations are continuing their role as backbone organisations in their regions to guide, support and enable the community to progress successful projects and outcomes. The Reef Trust Partnership seed funding has kick-started 15 community-led and traditional owner-led projects, ranging from local climate action to habitat rehabilitation and protecting cultural values. 4 of these 6 regions have already reported on further project investment catalysed by the CAP program, and projects have already enabled over 2,000 community participant engagements in on-ground actions and capacity building. So now I'm going to dive into 3 case studies where we'll summarise some of the key strengths in those regions and talk about some early wins and outcomes. So starting with Southeast Cape York, where Cape York NRM have strengthened relationships with traditional owner groups, developed tailored mentoring plans to support community groups and traditional owner groups implementing their CAP projects. And they had a really flexible approach to engagements that really ensured that all traditional owner groups were able to provide input into that CAP development process. In terms of early wins and outcomes, they have a CAP youth ambassador that's been driving youth engagement. They've leveraged further funding for their projects. They're delivering traditional owner-led projects enabling a national heritage listing and protecting habitats. They have a youth leadership program linking youth with traditional owners and reef managers. And they're integrating a new community priority of addressing climate change through the review and the revision of their CAP. The Magnetic Island Community Development Association are leading the implementation of the CAP on Yunbanen. And this was the smallest spatial area for a CAP and has enabled really strong place-based engagement processes, collaborative planning and implementation. And despite its small size, Yunbanen has a very high population of experts in marine, terrestrial and social science, And these professionals were highly engaged in the process and are very invested in the outcomes of it as well. And there were already many groups already active in this space too. Some early wins and outcomes have been that the CAP development process really united the community towards a shared goal of being a leading sustainable island community. There have already been many on-ground actions happening, including Trek for Trash, the Maggie Mangrovers, Under Alma, the School Adopt a Creek program, and Maggie on Tap. Evenings have been very popular with local experts. There's now 10 working groups to support a whole of island approach working towards their shared goal. In Capricorn Coast, there is strong youth leadership. The program has fostered genuine engagement with youth that has built their capacity to be involved in decision-making and leading project activities. They're building on existing projects and scaling up. For example, the Fitzroy Basin Association's Team Hatchlings project, which is built on the foundations and learnings of their Team Turtle CQ project. And there's effective cross-project collaboration happening in the region as well. And some early wins and outcomes for them is they've catalysed a new youth-led environmental group called the Cap Coast Eco Warriors. There's 5 projects that are working together for greater outcomes and sharing knowledge. And they're accelerating outcomes for Indigenous youth through the continuation of the Dhirrumbal Barolga program. Okay, so CAP program evaluations were conducted through interviews with CAP leaders, interviews with reef managers, including Gabrumpa, local government, and of course then analysed by our social scientists at UQ. So there was a lot that came out of the process. Here's just a couple of some of the ingredients for success. So we found that local leaders are vital to drive programs and projects and ensure that they're fitting the local context. Celebrating success and valuing community contributions is important for momentum. Creating space for collaboration, local knowledge and ideas can build trust and catalyse action. Growing program reach and scale requires wider and more diverse community engagement. And funders can nurture genuine community partnerships with flexible grant management, targeted capacity building, and shared accountability for outcomes. So what's next for the CAP program? Well, we are showcasing and celebrating success, ensuring that we're communicating about progress and wins to feed back to the contributors and really tell that collective impact story. We're sharing our learnings about what is working, areas to strengthen, and critical ingredients within and beyond the CAP network. And CAP leaders are reviewing and revising their CAPs, so continuing an iterative approach that meets the community's needs and grows opportunities. And GBRF are working with CAP leaders to explore further opportunities, such as cross-regional program links and mechanisms for continuity beyond the program timelines. 30 seconds to go. Thanks, everyone.